Good morning, everybody. I'm Simon Woods. I'm president of the Seattle Symphony, and it's wonderful to be here with our fantastic principal guest conductor, Thomas Dausgaard. Please welcome Thomas.
Thank you. A great joy to be here with you.
But I really want to encourage everybody to try to come to all 3 weeks of this cycle, because what you're going to have the chance to hear is a unique experience. It doesn't happen very often to hear the whole cycle in a close, short amount of time. And that's a very interesting thing to do, because unlike, well, certain other composers you can think of have this, but perhaps nobody more than Sibelius. This 25 years is an incredible journey. It's an incredible journey through his style, but it's an incredible journey from the very, the early romanticism of the First Symphony right through to this extraordinarily, compacted, dense, modernistic Seventh Symphony. Can you talk a little bit about that journey and what it's like to experience it as a musician?
I think it's so fascinating what you just said at the beginning, that it's such a short span of time, and yet it is not just for Sibelius, but for all the music, the so-called classical music. It's an immensely important time where things just went in so different directions. And what did Sibelius do? I think he was aware of what went on around him, but rather than sort of going after the things out in the world, I have always the feeling that he went inwards. He went inwards to see, how can I find my own integrity in this? What is really the essence of what I'm doing? And in that, I have the impression that the early experiences with folk music on his honeymoon, he went to listen to folk singers singing the Finnish national epos, the Kalevala, in what is called Runo song. He was absorbed in this tradition, though he didn't want it to be very public later on. He wanted it to be abstract symphonies, not relating to these experiences. But even so, these early impressions, which are obvious in the First Symphony, the Kullervo, the Lemminkainen legends, if you know those, and then again in the first numbered symphony you will hear today. Things in these works permeate through the next symphonies, but they are constantly in a new light. So, as you say, yes, you can say late romantic feel of the First Symphony, but already in the Second Symphony, by the first movement, there's something a little cooler, a little more distant about it, where he is not following the normal scheme of things. He is trying with very small motives to create his own three-dimensional world. And that is taken down to essentials in the Third Symphony, which is considered a more classical symphony. And yet it has imported some of the ecstasy of the Second Symphony. The way the Second Symphony ends with just repeating the same dance. The same thing happens in the Third Symphony, just as if it was done in cooler air, slightly less mild climate. And then the Fourth Symphony, that's probably where he goes most inwards. It's the perhaps most enigmatic and mysterious and dark, but yet it is also one of the symphonies with the most, I said ecstasy in number 3, but here it is ecstasy just going beyond what we could imagine. It has an expressionist feel to it. It's so real and yet so elusive. And there's another element in this symphony which has to do with the orchestration. He uses the glockenspiel, a children's instrument in a way, known for children as a xylophone, I think. And this, for me, always gives associations to a world of childhood. And I see this symphony very much as a longing for that state of simple life. And in a way, I think that's, as I mentioned, the journey he's making inwards to find the most important to him. And then, unfortunately, in this series, we won't be doing the first version of the Fifth Symphony, because that is really what can explain the huge journey from his fourth to the fifth. The fifth is such a life-affirming work in very general terms, and yet when you you hear that first version, you realize that it's so much more than that. It is so much more mysterious, like the fourth, and to imagine the creative work going into Sibelius. Have a listen to the first version. For him to come from that first version, which is strange and weird in so many ways, to arrive at this life-affirming version is, in a way, sums up his ability to strive inwards for the most honest response. He's able to kill his most beloved, kill his darlings, to find the essence of the music. So from that he goes to the Sixth Symphony, which is again on a more intimate level. It brings back, I think, again, perhaps childhood memories of psalm singing hymn singing in the church, some very folkloristic elements, and he himself says it's like the scent of the first snow. And he also says in the next sentence, it has all the rage and passion in it. And that's an unusual combination of first snow and rage and passion, but that sums up this work, which goes between these extremes. And as you mentioned, the seventh, yes, that is the most compressed form. It's the shortest symphony, just around 20 minutes, and it's just in one movement. Everything so condensed that you feel you couldn't just put a piece of paper down between anything or cut anything out. It would fall apart. It is so tightly constructed, and it is perhaps the most three-dimensional. You mentioned at the end how each group of instruments are given different instructions how to play, and in that way, again, as I mentioned with the first symphony beginning, we are circling in with different planets around us, and perhaps only on the last note does it all come together and make sense. So there's this incredible tension right from the beginning, with all the three-dimensionality to the final note, and that's in a way the sublime thing about his music. This huge tension he creates with all these elements in it.
You just got an amazing potted history of the seven symphonies there. That's an absolutely fantastic tour.